Hello, my name is Maggie Peard, the town's Sustainability and Resilience Officer. I'll be presenting on Article 31, an amendment of the Regulation of Refuse Disposal Bylaw. Article 31 asks town meeting members to vote to amend the town's Regulation of Refuse Disposal Bylaw to permit the Select Board to impose reasonable fees in connection with the disposal of waste and to update and modernize the language in the section. This article is stemming from years of work from the Waste Reduction Task Force that has resulted in the task force bringing forward a series of recommended changes to the waste collection system in Lexington. The language of the bylaw as it currently stands states that the Select Board shall provide a suitable place or method for free public disposal for residents to deposit ashes, cinder, paper, and other refuse and rubbish. As you can hear from the language alone, this bylaw is quite outdated. It was composed many decades ago. It also does not reflect the current reality. As you will see later in this presentation, waste disposal is not free for residents. It is paid for by residents' taxes. And as mentioned on the previous slide, the town is exploring changes to the waste collection system to protect against rising costs and to reduce waste. While the new program is not finalized, the current bylaw language will likely be incompatible with the future program design. Therefore, we are recommending amending the bylaw now to enable a more streamlined implementation process for a modernized program. Additionally, it is important to note that the current bylaw is not informed by or even aligned with any Mass DEP regulations or other state guidance. In fact, it is incompatible with many of Mass DEP's recommended waste management best practices.
Before diving into the proposed changes, I will explain why we need a change to our waste collection program. Waste disposal capacity in Massachusetts is severely limited. Of the 20 landfills that were open in 2003 across the state, 10 of those have already been closed, with the others scheduled for closure or nearing capacity.
Lexington is already feeling the effects of this state context. If you've been paying attention to our municipal budget over the years, you may already know that the rising waste collection and disposal costs have been creating a strain. This chart shows the different elements that make up that budget, including trash and recycling collection and disposal, bulky item disposal, and compost collection. In just the past 5 years, the town has seen a 67% increase in waste-related costs. This translates to the average household paying $143 more for waste services through their taxes than they were 5 years ago. It will be almost $360 per household per year in fiscal year 27 compared to $215 per household per year in fiscal year 22. Those figures are of course just averages that vary in reality based on your tax contributions.
While we are looking at a range of cost-saving approaches, waste reduction is the strongest line of defense against rising costs. The waste disposal costs shown on the last slide are determined by a per-ton tipping fee. Tipping fees have been rising steadily for many years. Our projected fiscal year 2030 tipping fee will be $115 per ton of trash. The best way to avoid a major waste budget inflation is reducing our total waste tonnage. As such, the Waste Reduction Task Force has put forward a series of recommendations to reduce waste and keep the budget in check. The town is looking at our waste collection program holistically to ensure the proposed changes complement each other and still provide a high-quality program for residents. I'll provide a brief overview of what has been proposed. First, expanding our curbside compost program. This program has been highly successful at reducing waste. Our total trash tonnage decreased by over 1,000 tons as the program grew over the last few years. This is a highly significant reduction when our total tonnage before was around 9,000 tons. With only a third of the residents participating today, there are still serious gains to be realized by expanding the program further. Next, we are looking into transitioning to automated trash collection, which many of our neighboring communities have already embraced, as haulers have begun to phase out manual collection offerings. This transition would involve the town providing a new trash and recycling cart to all households that is compatible with a mechanized arm. Accompanying that change would be a system for dealing with excess waste beyond the provided bin. More explanation to come on this. Town meeting and the select board have already approved a bulky item fee structure to go into effect July 1st of this year that has resulted in a $180,000 reduction in the waste budget for fiscal year 27. Instead of all taxpayers paying for this service, regardless if they use it or not, residents will only pay for the service as they use it. Bulky item disposal will still be available to residents. Finally, to support waste reduction, the last proposal is to increase the accessibility of waste diversion opportunities like special recycling drop-off, donation, reuse, and more. All of these proposals have been informed by experts at Mass DEP and several rounds of public forums and community input, as well as by the town's zero waste plan.
The updated waste collection program is still under development with community input, and all final decisions will go through the select board with plenty of opportunity for public comment. That being said, we know the program will include all households being provided a new trash and recycling cart that will be picked up every week with no fee. Excess trash beyond that first cart may incur a fee. This could be in the form of an annual fee for a second cart or the purchase of approved program bags for overflow trash that could then be picked up with curbside collection. This kind of volume-based program is very common and has been adopted by many of our immediate neighbors. In fact, nearly half of Massachusetts cities and towns use some kind of volume-based fee structure. According to rigorous data collected by Mass DEP, it is the single most effective way to reduce municipal solid waste, as it leads to an increase in recycling, diversion, donation, and composting. On average, municipalities see a 32% tonnage reduction after implementing a volume-based fee structure. This reduction would have saved almost $250,000 in tipping fees in fiscal year 26 in Lexington. That would have been 5% of the waste budget in a year the budget increased by 13%. Now that you understand why the town is exploring changes and what form those changes are likely to take, I will share the language of the motion. The new bylaw eliminates the word free, it modernizes the terminology, and ensures all programs follow state laws and regulations. A recent amendment to the bylaw language explicitly states that all dwelling units will continue to receive a baseline level of municipal curbside collection, consisting of one standard town-designated trash cart, without a separately assessed fee or charge. The select board would be allowed to impose reasonable fees only for disposal or collection in excess of that baseline level of service. If Article 31 passes, this is far from the last time the community will have a chance to weigh in on the program development. The Waste Reduction Task Force will continue its community outreach to inform our proposed program design with support from Mass DEP. The select board would ultimately vote on the program design, which would provide another opportunity for the community to weigh in. If a program design is approved, the town would apply for a Mass DEP grant to support program rollout. This application requires a very detailed implementation plan. If everything is approved, staff would prepare for program rollout in July of 2027, including extensive notification of what residents can expect. If Article 31 does not pass, the town will not have the ability to implement proven waste reduction strategies that will help keep the municipal waste budget in check. As stated throughout this presentation, community input will remain central to this process. Already, the Waste Reduction Task Force has hosted over 12 community forums and presentations. We have fielded dozens of direct emails, phone calls, and conversations with residents. We have collaborated closely with committees and community organizations to gather additional feedback and inform the public about the process. Information has been available on the town website, sent out in various newsletters, and promoted on social media. You can expect plenty more of these outreach efforts to come. Thank you for your attention to Article 31, and please stay engaged with this important effort.